All B-Balance programs are based on specific alignment rules, such as the load of the feet. We are talking about a 3 points load of the feet. The 3 points are the ball of the big toe, the little toe, and the heel. If you connect all 3 points to a triangle, pressure is evenly distributed on the ground during the exercise. Let's try that in different body positions. We start with standing up with the 2 feet on the balance pad. The balance pad is unstable, and this wobble effect makes it very difficult to hold balance and to distribute the pressure evenly on the ground. It might happen that the inner side of the foot has more weight than the outside. That means this little toe is coming up. You have to correct that. It might happen that the outer side of the foot has more weight, so the big toe is coming up. This also has to be corrected. It also may happen that you have more weight on the ball of the foot and you cramp your toes. That means that your heels are coming up and you have to put the heels down. So you have all 3 points equally distributed with weight. Let's look at a split level situation. It is more difficult to keep up balance. There's a higher need of stability. The front foot has to be pointed outwards. You have to watch how bent the knee has to be and make sure that all 3 points are distributed equally with weight. In this position also. The next standing position is the wide squat with 1 foot on the balance pad. It might happen that you open the legs too much so that the outer sole comes up. That means you have to bring the feet closer together. All toes are in line. You bend your knee and you have to watch how far you can bend. The knee has to stay behind the toes. In the end position, all 3 points are equally distributed with weight. Now, if we look at the one-leg position, even more difficult, higher need of stability is required. You can see how the foot has to work here to keep the balance, and it's not so easy to find out how to distribute the weight equally. The principle is always the same. All 3 points has to be distributed with weight equally. Let's look at the whole upright posture system in different body positions. We start with standing up. The principles of upright postures are: open your legs, feet are pointed outwards, 3 points of the foot is distributed equally with weight, knees are slightly bent so you can always start a movement, and they point to the center toe. The pelvis is tilted. You can find out if the pelvis is tilted by putting the hands on your hip bones. The fingertips are pointing downwards. If you push your bodice backwards, you can see how the fingertips are moving slightly backwards. If you do the opposite movement, the fingertips are pointing more or less to the front. We need a position where the fingertips are pointing downwards directly. This is different for each person, and the participant has to find out by himself. Now we come to the rib cage. Both hands under the last rib, fingertips are pointing forward, and you push your ribs to the front. in direction of the fingertips. Put one hand on your breast and lift up your breastbone. So that means the thorax lift is to the front and up. Let your hand go. Both shoulders are pushing down and back. And the neck is always long, the chin is pushed backwards. In this position, the body is aligned in upright posture, and we now have an evenly formed lordosis between the middle chest spinal column and the sacrum in order to achieve axial pressure. Looking at the arms are always straight, palms to the front, fingers spread, and sometimes the wrists are stretched. Let's look at the position on all fours. There's no weight on the feet, but legs are opened. Pelvis is tilted. Ribs are pushed downwards in direction of the floor. Breastbone is lifted. Shoulders are pulling back from the ears, down and back. We have to look at the arms. Elbows are bent in direction of the body, and the chin is pushed backwards. The neck is long. That's how it looks like in 4/4. We continue in side-lying position. In the side-lying position, we have to look at the shoulders especially. When your arm is long and lying on the floor and you rest your head on your arm, make sure that both shoulders are pushed away from the ears. Rest your head, but push your chin backwards. Lift your breastbone. Imagine that somebody is pushing behind your shoulder blades, the breastbone to the front. The pelvis is tilted. The leg position varies from exercise to exercise. The upper body position is always the same. If you change the size, it's always good to do that in coming up into a sitting position. And even in the sitting position, you have to watch the principles. Open your legs, bend your knees. They are pointing to the outside, in direction of the center toe. Flex your feet. The pelvis is tilted. Feel your sit bones on the floor. Breastbone is lifted up. Ribs are pointing to the front. Shoulders down and back. And chin backwards so that your neck is long. Coming to prone position. Maybe you find the position of the legs quite unusual, but we also have to keep up the principles of upright posture here. So what we saw in standing up is the same here now. We open the legs, knees are pointed to the outside, and they are bent. That also provokes a pelvis tilt. Feet are flexed. Pelvis is tilted. The breastbone is lifted. Shoulders are pulling down and back. If you stay down with your head, and also when you lift up your head, make sure that the chin is pushed backwards so your neck stays long. In supine position, we find the same principles. Let's use placed feet. Open your legs. Flexed feet, knees are bent, knees are pointing to the center toe, pelvis is tilted. Ribs are pushing to the ceiling, and the breastbone is pushing to the ceiling. Shoulders down and back. Chin is pushing backwards. Your arms away from the body. Straight elbows, spread fingers, palms to the ceiling.